8 days until Election Day, and while the race to become Florida's next governor is still close, the race to represent Florida in Washington in the Senate may also not be over. In an exclusive News Channel 5 poll out today, John Shainman looks at the two top races in the ticket. This one, John, looks like, they're both pretty close.
They certainly are. You know, Roxanne, traditionally polls tighten in the last week of a campaign. The governor's race has been close since the primary. Now the latest Senate poll shows it's not a lock just yet. Republican Senate hopeful Marco Rubio has been on a roll. Most recent polls had him out front by double digits against independent Governor Charlie Crist and Democratic Congressman Kendrick Meek. However, the latest News Channel 5 Zogby poll gives Rubio just a 6 percentage point lead over Crist. Stumping on the Treasure Coast last week, Rubio said it's all about turnout.
We've got to get people out to vote. It doesn't matter what the polls say.
Meek, who had to refute a Wall Street Journal story saying he was going to drop out of the race, is a distant third with 18%. And we asked the congressman today if he portrayed himself now as a spoiler.
It's not a question. I'm here. Do it look like I'm dropping out of the race? Absolutely not.
The Senate numbers are exactly the same as they were 3 weeks ago when the last Zogby poll was released. Only 8% of the 802 voters polled were undecided, so there may not be enough time or wiggle room for Crist to leapfrog Rubio. The race that has been tight throughout is the race for governor between Democrat Alex Sink and Republican Rick Scott. The news here is good for Sink. She's out in front 43 to 39%. Now that's just outside the poll's 3.5% margin of error, but 11% were still undecided. Both candidates find themselves as polarizing figures, especially Scott. 1/3 of those surveyed said Scott was a not at all favorable candidate. That negative number is 10% higher than Sink's. Whichever candidates win, they're going to have to work hard to get the state back on the right track. The poll showed only 20% of those asked felt Florida was going in the right direction. John Shainman, WPTV, News Channel 5.
John.